Hello dearest students, this is Mrs. Dina. In this video, we're going to learn about comparative and superlative adjectives. Before we start, let's recall what an adjective is. An adjective describes a noun or a pronoun, and it answers one of the three questions: what kind? For example, happy dog. Which one? For example, tired boy. Or how many? For example, 7 girls. So happy, tired, and 7 are adjectives. The comparative is normally used if you want to compare two things, people, etc. When we compare using short words, 1 or 2 syllables, we have to add er at the end of the adjective plus than. For example, he is shorter than me. Here I'm comparing two people and I'm using the adjective short. That is a word made of 1 syllable, so I have to add er plus than. Let's have another example. My car is nicer than your car. Here I'm comparing two things, two cars, and I'm using a short word that is nice as an adjective. So I have to add er plus than. But pay attention, before I add er to the adjective nice, I have to cross out the final e. If an adjective ends in one vowel plus a consonant, we have to double the consonant and add er. Here, it's a short word that ends with a vowel and a consonant. For example, big. So I have to add er after I double the final consonant. Same as in thin. It becomes thinner. I have to double the final consonant and then add er. If an adjective ends with a y, we have to change it to I and then add er. For example, happy, happier, funny, funnier, easy, easier. When we compare two things or people using long words that are made of 3 or more syllables, we have to add more before the adjective and than after the adjective. For example, Maria is more beautiful than Jennifer. Beautiful here is a long adjective, so I can't add er to it. I have to add more before it and than after it. This book is more interesting than that book. Because interesting is a long word, I have to add more before it and than after it. Now there are irregular words such as good, bad, far, and little. These words we cannot add er or more to them. We have to memorize their comparative forms. For example, good becomes better in the comparative form. Bad becomes worse. Far becomes further. Little becomes less. We have to memorize these and keep them in mind. We can say something is better than something else. Something is worse than something else. A certain place is further than another place. Something is less than another thing. Let's practice. Write the comparative form of the adjectives below. Interesting, short, far, expensive, small, good, high, bad, and beautiful. Let's look at the first word. Interesting is a long word, so the comparative form is more interesting. Short is a short word, so the comparative form is shorter. Far is an irregular word, so the comparative form is further. Expensive is a long word, so the comparative form is more expensive. Small is a short word, so it becomes smaller. Good is an irregular word, so it becomes better. High is a short word, so it becomes higher. Bad is an irregular word, so it becomes worse. And beautiful is a long word, so it becomes more beautiful. If you want to compare 3 or more things or people, you should use the superlative form. When using short words, words that are with one syllable, we have to add the before the adjective and then add est to the adjective. For example, the red car is always the fastest of all. Here we're comparing a group of cars of different colors, and we are saying that the red car is always the fastest of all. So I have to add the before the adjective, and I have to add est to the adjective fast because it's a short word. Let's have another example. Dinosaurs are the tallest creatures. Here I'm comparing many creatures. So I have to use the superlative form. I have to add the before the adjective and I have to add est to the adjective tall. When using long words, 3 or more syllables, we have to add the most before the adjective. For example, he is the most intelligent student in the class. She is the most beautiful girl in the world. Irregular words that are good, bad, and far become best, worst, and furthest in the superlative form. This is a table for the short adjectives in their comparative and superlative form. You can refer to it at any time. And this is another table for the long adjectives, also with their comparative and superlative forms. Now it's easy to do pages 247, 248, and 250 in the practice book.